Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Full Send Half Mast podcast, episode 113. Man, tonight's going to be a fun podcast. We're going to be talking about all of the NASCAR Xfinity ARCA Cup Series weekend at Phoenix. We'll talk about the tires. We'll talk about some drama and some interesting banter we have to share tonight about this Phoenix weekend. We also have a little bit of news we want to share here. We're getting into the deep heart of the season. This weekend is the premiere for Formula One's 2025 campaign, as well as the 12 Hours of Sebring. We will preview those races for you guys here tonight. That will be a lot of fun. We also have to recap this weekend's race at Phoenix with our driver and bonehead of the week segments. We'll go over the point standings in the Cup Series for your top three. I believe that's all we have for tonight. Oh, also, never mind. Lastly, our NASCAR and Formula One Fantasy. Formula One Fantasy is back for 2025. I set the link. It's all in the Discord below. Just join our fantasy. Have fun. Hang out with us. It's fun. You set 5 drivers, 2 manufacturers, compete on a weekly basis. It's a fun time. We're going to see who kicks butt this year because we did not do very good last year. But first off, I got Tom with me. He's back this week. Tom, how you doing, man?
Yeah, last week was not a good week for me. Sickness and all. So, you know what? I'm happy to be back. I'm 100% baby, and I'm ready to talk about some racing as I was laid up on the couch.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you're doing good, man. We're back here. We're going to have some fun here tonight, talking about some racing. I guess the first thing we need to do is we need to talk about some of the news. I don't know if I got to this or not last week or if this came out afterward, but we do have to talk about Cadillac to F1. It's finally official. Tom, it's here, man. F1 Caddy, 11 different teams on the grid. This is awesome, dude.
Yeah, Andretti did it. Anybody?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
this is a way to go, Andretti. You beat the system. Congratulations. I'm pulling for you. GG's.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm excited, man. I wonder who the driver lineup's going to be. We've seen a lot of names get thrown out and around. I think Herta is definitely going to get a ride. I don't see why not. I think, what is he only like 1 point away from a super license? So he's really only needs to finish in the top 5 in points this year one more time. And he's basically has his credentials for F1. Alex Palou's got his super license already. And then the other ones are basically F3 or F2, F1 drivers that are rumored to that ride. I'd say Herta's a lock at this point, as long as he gets that last point on his first super license.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like Herta is a lock. I would say, though, that if Cadillac is looking at Sergio Perez to man that second car, that's a mistake. I would be more looking towards Bottas.
Yeah.
I would look for that Bottas Herta lineup. Potentially Yuki Tsunoda.
That would be fire. That'd be fire.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
I'm excited, man. This is going to be my new favorite team for sure, dude. I want to see him do so good, dude. I'm excited to see how this all plays out over the next 10 months or so, 11 months until we get them on the grid. I mean, it's going to be fun to see how this all develops. But it is official, man. They did it, dude. They did it. They defied the odds. They stuck it to the Europeans, man. They got into
Yeah, take that, Euros.
Oh, man. I love it. Alrighty. Also, some more news that I love, dude. Guess who's back in the Indy 500 here in 2025? Oh, Takuma Sato. Banzai
That's my boy.
is back, dude. Let's go.
My boy right there.
I'm so excited, dude. This dude's a legend.
Dude, I was like, so just a funny story. 1 year, I think it was 18 when he won it, or no, it was 19.
19.
It was 19.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah. I was just scrolling through Facebook, and this post came up. Shoot your predictions for the Indy 500 winner. And so I'm scrolling through. I'm thinking about all the drivers. Scrolling through. Nobody said Takuma Sato, and I was like, these guys are freaking crazy. Everybody's choosing like Dixon and Power and
Ray Hunter,
and Newgarden,
Ryan
Ryan Hunter-Ray. Dude, even Hildebrand got chosen over him. And I was like, these guys are freaking crazy, man. I was the first guy to hit Takuma Sato, and it was like 18 hours into the after the post was created, and I freaking won it. I won it, dude, and it was awesome. It was so cool. I've always been a fan of Takuma because the man just doesn't give a damn, and he just drives his hardest, and that's what I appreciate the most about him. That's really the drivers that I kind of flock to, you know? Kind of like how Carson Hocevar said, we're not here to make boy bands, we're here to race. I feel like that's an anthem for a lot of drivers, and Takuma Sato is one of them. So I'm really excited for him. Hopefully Ray Hall can bring him a good car.
Hopefully they can make the race. That's, I guess, my biggest worry right there. But I mean, it's Takuma, man. Like you said, dude, he's some of the most magical Indy 500 moments involves him. Like whether that one year where you tried to go to make that pass the inside of, was it Franchitti and ends up wrecking, and then or was it Castroneves maybe? Yeah, and then he ends up winning on another 3-wide pass. I mean, there's just some of the greatest moments are Takuma Sato, man. If anybody can get it done at Indy, it's him, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm excited. God, we're only what, dude? I think I was Spencer was talking about the Indy 500 or Indy 500. There was an idea I had the other day, laying in bed. We got March Madness. We need to do Motorsports Madness for the month of May. We need to have a poll where you select whoever can. So if you pick a winner, you get a 2 point, or if you pick a favorite, you get a point. If you pick a dark horse winner, you get 2 points, and we just see who has the most points by the end of May.
Yes,
you can open up to subscribers.
That's a great idea.
I'll come up with something. We'll orchestrate it, but I think that'd be fun for the month of May, because May is Motorsports Month. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
I think we need to do something fun for that. But yeah, also this weekend is 12 hours of Sebring. We have a driver replacement at old Vassie Sullivan. Ben Barnico injured in a mountain biking accident, dude. He's out this weekend, man. I'm so sad for him, dude. That's such a rip. I mean, not only is the cars just complete trash because they're so outdated, but then to lose like your cornerstone driver with an injury, I mean, that is just tough, man. Vassie's going through it right now.
Yeah, they are. It's like a bad breakup, man. It's just like, the end is in sight, but you just got to endure the pain for a little bit longer.
Yep. Because we know the new cars come in 2027, dude. It's going to be here, but it's just like we got to wait till 2027 for the new Lexus, dude. And it's just like, they're hanging on. They're hanging on for all their freaking worth, dude. Oh, man. So we'll see how Jose Maria Lopez can do this weekend. Very experienced, talented driver. But I really don't think there's anybody you could put in those Vassie Sullivan cars right now and actually make them run up at the front of the field.
I don't even think you can put God in them.
I don't think so, dude. I really don't. They're so bad right now. But I'll be pulling for them, dude. So we'll see. We'll talk about that more in a minute when we get to the 12 hours Sebring. I guess we got to get into some F1 news. Oscar Piastri, multi-year deal with McLaren, man. This is unheard of for McLaren, bro. I'm not gonna all the drivers that don't get these multi-year contracts to get booted. How many drivers over the last, let's say, 5 years? I mean, we had Daniel Ricciardo, we had Alex Palou, the Frenchman Formula 2 driver Théo Pourchaire, David Malukas. I mean, the list just goes on with drivers getting booted out of McLaren, and now they signed a multi-year deal with Piastri. I mean, this is awesome to see. I'm a huge fan of Piastri. I think he's going to win a world title. I think he's better than Lando Norris already. But I mean, this just came out of the blue for me seeing this update, Tom. I don't know.
It really did for me too. No, I wasn't expecting it at all. Actually,
it's crazy.
To me, Lando Norris is the number one driver there. If anything, they just announced left and right contract extensions for him. So, for me to see it with Piastri, I'm actually, I'm happy for him because I feel like, kind of like what you said, I feel like he is better than Norris, and he can prove that he could be the number one driver.
Yeah, well, exactly, and I thought this was interesting timing too because I felt like this year, it really feels like McLaren's priming at Pato O'Ward for that F1 ride at McLaren. It really feels like it this year. I don't know. It just all the hype around him this year just seems different. He's testing F1 cars on a regular basis the last year and a half, 2 years. just felt like maybe that this Piastri thing was going to run its course, and then we're going to see Pato get a super license, move on up into that F1 ride. So to get this news, it kind of caught me off guard. I really didn't expect it at all. I thought Piastri was going to be more caught in fire for the whole McLaren Zach Brown ego trip clownery move organization he's got going on there.
Yeah.
Oh man, so that's awesome. I'm glad to see that. Also, we do have to talk about this. We knew it was coming, right? We knew this was coming. Madrid is going to be hosting the Spanish Grand Prix in 2026. Goodbye to Catalunya.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
That's a big R.I.P. Big homie.
We talked about this off stream though, right? I guess my first initial thought on this circuit was that when I look at the picture and the direction that they're supposed to be going, it just looks backwards to me. I don't know. Just seeing the swooper go off of turn one, kind of extending the straightaway, but with a turn. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Vegas course, I guess, a little bit, but opposite because the turn one or the swoopers on the exit of or entrance to the straightaway instead of the exit, then a hairpin. I don't know. It just the track just looks backwards to me, but I don't know. I'm not gonna judge it till I see a race there. I think you brought up a good point with the European Grand Prix.
Yeah. I mean, it was back in like 2011, 2012, and they were running the European Grand Prix. And, that track was pretty funky. Kind of crazy, actually. This track reminds me kind of the layout of that track. But the races there, they were pretty freaking good. Obviously, when you open up a track, there's three ways it can go. It's just absolutely awful. There's going to be no legacy behind it. Terrible decision. Replace it back with the track that you took off the schedule. 2, there was potential, couple things that might be bad, we'll change it next year. And 3, that was the best introduction of the race. So, I think potentially they'll run this race and make some changes next year. I don't know if this racetrack is really slotted to be the best race ever. I think that you're going to have a hard time beating tracks like Brazil. Yeah. Especially in the rain and stuff like that. Spa, Monza. I mean, it's got some tough competition, but I see some potential. We'll see though. It's different. The cars are different, and plus cars are changing next year as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean we've had some hit and miss with some street courses. We have Jeddah, and then and Miami are kind of like and then you have Vegas and Baku, on the other spectrum. So it's like
God tier.
Yeah, it's like where does it lie in the Miami, Jeddah versus Vegas, Baku, somewhere in there. I don't know. We're gonna find out, I guess. But I don't think it ends here, Tom. I think that this is going to just lead to more street courses. We're gonna get one in Paris. That's coming. The rumors are out there. They want to get back into France. They're not going to go to any other circuit that's a already built circuit. They're not going to go to Magny-Cours. We're not going to see that again. We're not going to see him go to Circuit de Sarthe. We're not going to see that. So that's on the table. We're also heard rumors of the Chicago plan coming soon. So, I mean, it's just the way it is, man. F1 smart, I guess, in business strategy to get into these big cities and these big markets. But then, like Tom said, the trade-off, right? We're gonna lose the charm of our Sao Paulos and our Spas and our Monzas, of the world that are already been around forever, and they've put on great races and historic purpose-built racetracks. So it's like, where's the happy medium here? I guess we'll find out over the next few years, but we'll see how this plays out with Madrid hosting an F1 race. I'm excited to watch. I mean, regardless, I mean, I'll be watching. So we'll see how it goes. 2026. All right, Tom. We had some races this weekend, dude. We had some ARCA action on Friday. What an interesting race, man. This race, Brent Cruz pretty much dominated the first half of it. Then Butterbean, Brennan Queen, ends up dominating the second half of it. Then we end up getting a late race caution, get a 1-lap shootout. First attempt, I gotta give some shit to Thad had what Moffitt or whatever. This guy, man, I don't understand what he was doing there. I mean, there was no room for him to fit his car to that inside wall. Tyler Reif did a great job of defending it, and then he just completely dumps it. I mean, I did not like that, man. I'm not a huge fan of this Thad Moffitt guy. I don't understand. I don't understand what he was doing there, man. He just absolutely killed. I think Tyler Reif got a pretty good restart. Tyler Reif was gonna have a chance to make that 3 wide into turn 1 with Butterbean and Brent Cruz there, and it didn't even get an opportunity. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I see it different than you. I don't know. I feel like that was just a stupid
It's
move.
classic ARCA.
I mean, if I'm Moffitt in this situation, I'm being a little patient here because if you let them get 3 wide into turn 1, you have the inside line. You wouldn't have had to lift. You just tried to fit into a hole that was there. You could have pushed Rife into turn 1. Maybe he washed up the track, gets into Cruz, gets into Butterbean. You're on the inside. You got a chance to drive off of turn 2 with a chance down the back straightaway to win the race. I mean, I just don't understand why you dump him there. I don't know. That's just so stupid. I'm gonna have to nominate Thad Moffitt. The lack of awareness, lack of talent right there kind of confused me. But I guess really the controversy in this race though, Tom, was that finish. I guess this is my point, right? Brent Cruz dominated the first half. Brendan Queen dominated the second half. Looked like Brendan Queen was gonna win the race till that late race caution comes out. And Brendan Queen kind of clears him off of 2. Brent Cruz gets a good enough run down into turn 3, kind of got into him a little bit. Didn't look egregious enough to me. Not as egregious as what we'll talk about with the Xfinity finish, but the internet absolutely berating Brent Cruz, man. Like, these young drivers have no respect. They just run each other over and no morals or ethics in racing etiquette at all. It's just ridiculous that he would do that. And then you fast forward not even 15 hours later for the Xfinity race, and we got Almirola, one of the oldest drivers in the Xfinity series, shoving Bowman into the wall for a win. And they chalk that up to just payback for 5 years ago with what Bowman did to Hamlin at Martinsville in a cup race. I mean, come on, Tom. What are we doing here, bro? I'm convinced nobody cares about respect and ethics.
I mean, what's the precedent set by NASCAR?
There is none. They don't care about safety.
Well, they do put on a good show, and they indoctrinate and spread a lot of propaganda about how they do care or how they're cleaning it up or whatever. So, I don't know. Open-ended answer. Open-ended question right there.
Oh,
I don't know. Joke show. It's like going to a comedy show at this point.
It's ridiculous.
Actually.
That's what we did off screen before we started this podcast. Tom has compiled an awesome list that we're going to debut here in a few weeks on this podcast. You guys remember the What's Happening segment? We're going to do another one of those with NASCAR and regards to safety. I think that'll be a fun topic to talk about here in a podcast in a week or so. But yeah, they don't care about safety, and it trickles down, man. It trickles down to the drivers. It trickles down to the teams. There's so many inconsistent, irrehensible designs and moves. I mean, we got people right hooking each other. That's okay now. I mean, there's just so many reasons and so many things that they prove that they don't care about safety. I thought it was clean and fair, man. Out of all the finishes this weekend, I thought that was probably one of the cleanest ones, to be honest. I mean, the Bell one was pretty clean too. Maybe the Bell one is a little cleaner, but yeah, that Almirola one was pretty ridiculous. We'll talk about that in a second, but I enjoyed the ARCA race, dude. I thought it was a good one, man. There was a lot of good racing in that field. We had a lot of comers and goers. The battles the front 2 kind of checked out on the field, whether it was Cruz or Queen leading, but I mean, the battles, we saw Tyler Reif early in that race qualify P10. He drove himself up to P2 by the end of the halftime break. That was a great drive by him. Like I said, I think if he doesn't get taken out by Thad Moffitt there, I think he has a chance to win this race. Or at least have an opportunity to drag race down the back straightaway there, come into the checkered. So that was pretty fun. Too bad for Isabella Robusto. She was having a good run going too until she had some engine troubles. I had her as my dark horse going into the weekend. I said watch out for her on the podcast last week. It just didn't pan out. But we saw those 2 teammates at Venerini with Starpoli, the eye doctor or whatever. I thought it was funny. They made such a big deal out of it. Like, can you believe it? We have a doctor racing in our series. It's like, bro, do you not watch IMSA, dude? That's like literally every LMP3 race in the history of IMSA has been a doctor or dentist, bro.
Yeah, yeah. That's not new.
Oh man.
Not new.
Oh man. That is so funny, dude. That is so funny. And then you also had Lapsovich. He drove kind of through the field as well. That was kind of fun. Him and Starpoli ended up getting into each other, causing a little bit of a wreck. That was kind of some of the only drama, teammate drama there. But I enjoyed this race, Tom. I thought it was a good race. I thought it was one of the better ARCA races I've seen in a while. All right, let's talk about the Xfinity Series race. Um, I'm just gonna get out of the way. Bowman and Allgaier win the stages. Those were probably your best two cars early, and then obviously Almirola was probably maybe the best car. Debatable with Allgaier. Those were pretty much your three best cars in this race. We do have to talk about old Austin Hill. What happened, dude? How the hell did he run into the inside wall at Phoenix?
I think he's been taking too many driving lessons from Kyle Larson. Old hung money, rubbing off on him. Because that boy just straight up stepped on it going into turn 3.
That was ridiculous,
Or
bro.
what is it now? It's
I guess that'd be what it would have to be turn
that'd be
3 or 4. I mean,
3?
it's in between turn 3 and 4.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's turn 1.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. That I couldn't even. And of course it's Creed that he just absolutely body slams going straight to the outside wall. I mean, what tomfoolery that we just saw there. I don't know. The interview after that wreck, though, kind of surprised me because there was a little bit of accountability there. I don't think I've ever seen that out of Austin Hill.
I don't think so either. That's a good point.
I think that's the first time.
That's a good point. He did look like he felt like a jackass, dude, for sure. I mean, he did though. I mean, he ran into the wall. I mean,
well, he should start watching some race replays, man. I mean, he'd start feeling like that more often.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that, man. That was a bonehead move of the week for sure.
That
and like
awful.
You said, poor Creed, man. He can't buy a break, whether it's finishing second or third or getting taken out when he's has nothing to do with the wreck and then gets blamed for other people's incidents all the time. Poor Creed, man. It also collected Dean Thompson as well. I mean, he had nowhere to go. He was on the outside and he was like, "Oh, I'll easily avoid this." And then next thing you know, Austin Hill just lands in his lap. Oh, it's so funny. Oh man. All right. We have a late race caution leads to another late race green white checker finish. How about that move by Bowman on that restart? Allgaier completely choked going into turn 1, kind of washed up the track into Almirola, set them both back. But God, dude, Bowman fits it 4 wide, splits the needle there on the inside of in between Brandon Jones on the bottom, Allgaier and Almirola above him. Ends up taking the lead there on the 2 to go lap off of turn 2. I mean, that was an insane move, dude. Absolutely insane. Move. I can't believe he pulled that off. That was one of the most unbelievable moves. I thought he was going to win the race, but I mean, I knew he didn't have that good of a car. I mean, that's why I didn't pick him coming in. I picked Almirola coming into the week to win this race. I just knew JGR was going to be good this weekend in all 3 series. Actually, I mean, I'm not going to, I am going to brag a little bit. I picked all 3 winners this weekend, by the way, on the podcast last week. I did hella good this week in my picks, but yeah, that Almirola move.
Yeah, you did. Damn.
That Almirola move just pisses me off still kind of to this moment. Actually, I'm kind of over it, but it still did piss me off a little bit. I mean, am I wrong that Bowman went into that corner, gave Almirola 2.5 lanes of driving space there to make a move, didn't block him? Because if Bowman goes to the bottom and blocks, he's getting dumped. Almirola admitted it in his post race. He was gonna dump Bowman or get into Bowman, no matter what, whether it was the bumper, the door, it didn't matter. Yeah. But I just can't imagine when someone like Almirola, like this is not what I expected from someone like Almirola, but gives 2.5 lanes to the bottom and then still walls Bowman off the corner. I mean, I don't know. Explain.
Wasn't
it doesn't
like
make sense.
Wasn't part of the reason why he retired from the Cup Series was because of lack of I don't know, lack of appreciation for the elder drivers or for the racing etiquette. So So to me, that's kind of lame. But um, here's the reality of the situation. What did Almirola have to lose?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. What did Bowman have to lose? Absolutely nothing. So of course it doesn't matter where Bowman goes. It doesn't matter. He's in the worst possible place because these are two non-points paying drivers going at it for a win. Bowman just wrong place, wrong time. Because you put any jackass in the 19, he's going to do the same thing. You know, not defending what Almirola did, anyways. I think that potentially could have been a little bit more honorable, going through the last corner there, to fight for a win. But I feel like he just absolutely walled him, just like straight up walled him. But yeah, I just don't think Almirola had anything to lose. I think he realized that Bowman had nothing to lose either, and just said, "Screw it."
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
gonna
think you're
wall
right.
him.
Oh man, it was egregious, man. He not only drove it in there,
It was.
like they were making the excuse like, oh, he was sideways coming off the corner, and it was
No,
like, well, it's because he freaking gassed it up
come
and
on.
drove him into the
No, he wasn't.
wall.
He was completely in control of his car the entire time. He knew what he was doing. Like I said, he realized the situation. Nobody had anything to lose here. They were just out there for funsies, and if he wasn't going to do anything, he wasn't going to go home with the trophy. He wanted the trophy. That's it. That's it right there.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's a great point. It just sucks, man. I just hate to see. I just like I say all the time, man. I think the worst two moves in NASCAR is just walling somebody off of a corner or right hooking somebody, man. Those two things just irritate the hell out of me. And to see that happen, it just sucks because it puts a stain on the race. I mean, for what was a good race, man. We said it before. The Xfinity race was good. We didn't need option tires because the damn COT car is the best damn car on the planet of Earth for stock car racing. It's the best car, and they still use the Xfinity series. I thought the race was good, man. There was so much variables in this race, a lot of comers and goers. Shout out to Parker Retzloff. What a freaking drive, Parker
Dude.
Retzloff, dude.
What an absolute shame for Jordan Anderson Racing. What an absolute shame. Wow.
He was unbelievable.
Absolute wow.
He was top 15 all day. I mean, he sneaks out with
In
a
an
P11.
Alpha Prime car, dude.
Yeah.
In an Alpha Prime car. That's Tommy Joe Martin's, by the way. Tommy Joe Martin's owns that team, or co-owns that team. You ever remember Tommy Joe Martin's finishing in the top 20, top 25? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. A cool underdog to root for, but that dude was never winning a race. That's for sure. But you know what? Parker Retzlaff can make that team a winning team for sure. Absolutely. He is the Brett Moffitt of AM racing.
I agree. It reminds me of Chastain when he was with JD, and then yeah, like you said, Brett Moffitt with AM Racing. He's just getting results, man. He's just putting his car in front. Atlanta was a good race for him. This was a good race for him. Unfortunately, missed Coda, but
Alpha Prime.
Yeah, exactly.
Parker Retzlaff can do it. He's qualified for that race for the past 2 years with Jordan Anderson Racing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Parker Retzlaff problem. I don't think so.
No, I agree 100%. I was impressed by his run. I guess the next thing to talk about is Ryan Sieg, man. What a drive by Ryan Sieg, dude. Backup car to P4, bro. Talk about that for a second, dude.
And did you see what happened to his primary car?
I did not see what happened to his primary car. I must have missed that.
He was going out for qualifying.
Oh,
coming out of the garages.
Okay, yeah. Hits that little berm or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Hits a freaking piece of concrete right in the middle of the road, and it tore out his front end. What? This is the championship racetrack, and you're telling me that it doesn't have stable concrete for the garages? What? That's insane. Like, the level of incompetencies right there is just beyond me. And it's not no JRM team. It's some freaking Mon Pa team where the driver's last name is the name of the team. What are we doing? That's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous.
BDN.
Sorry, I was pissed off about that. That was so freaking dumb. But you know what? A freaking Superman like Ryan Sieg comes back and absolutely dominates the day. What a G drive.
It was
That's
crazy,
S
dude.
tier right
I was
there.
watching the whole race, and it was like every time I looked up, he was making 2 or 3 passes and moving towards the front, moving towards the front. I'm like, dude, holy cow, how far can he go, bro? And by the end of the race, I look up at the end and he's in 4th. I'm like, that's insane. How did he do that?
Yeah. We gotta get
Unbelievable.
some we gotta get some Ryan Sieg apparel. We're at
Yeah.
the Talladega.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Ryan Sieg is a beast, man. He actually he showed this weekend exactly why he's him, dude. Like he gets
He is
more
him.
out of that equipment than anybody else, man. Like it could get out of that equipment. It's unbelievable.
And you know what? I'll put a mortgage payment down that Ryan Sieg is a better draft race car driver than Austin Hill. I'll put my mortgage down. I will. I'm confident. I'm confident in that.
I mean, you see him at the front at every one of them. Just doesn't have a winning car. I mean, it just is what it is.
He doesn't have $500,000 race cars.
Yeah.
You know?
It was cool to see though that Ford or like a lot of the other Ford teams pitched in to put that car back together. That was kind of cool to see. I saw that
cool.
video or that post or whatever on the internet where they just saw
Yep.
tons of people over there thrashing on that backup car to get it ready to go, which was pretty cool.
So cool.
That just shows that not only is he a good race car driver, but he's got the respect of his peers and everybody in the garage too. That they put the effort in to get him going. So that was cool to see. We got to talk about Allgaier. The last thing we got to talk about with this race. Allgaier, another choke, man. How many times is he going to choke a race away? I'm glad to see it because
now
after Atlanta, he's on my no-go list.
is he a Denny Hamlin or a Kyle Larson?
I think he's the worst of both.
He's his own category, man.
Yeah, dude. He's the worst of both. Take the worst aspects of both of those and put them into one.
Well, you know, he does have a championship, but he's got Denny Hamlin tendencies.
Yeah, exactly. He's got some of the success that Larson has, but he also steps on his own appendage. But then he also chokes away races like Denny Hamlin with who hasn't won a championship. So it's like, I don't know. It's a little mix of both there. He's his own category. We got 3 different categories. We got our hung money, we got our Dickie Hamlin, and then we got an Allgaier.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say we'll come up with a name here soon, but I think he just nailed it.
I just ripped that one off my head. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, how many times? I think they showed it during the race. How many times he's choked at Phoenix? I mean, that's hilarious, man. I mean, he's just lucky last year at the championship race. He had the best car that he was able to recover and got the lucky caution when he did, because he would have choked that championship away 100%. But turned a bad one of the worst. He was, I think, last year we nominated Bonehead and Driver of the Week for that weekend.
Yep.
I think he deserved it, but ends up choking away another one. Almirola wins in one of his select starts here in the Xfinity Series this year. I enjoyed the race, man. I thought it was a good race. I love the Xfinity Series, man. You could take those cars just about anywhere, and they're going to be a damn good race, dude. Yep. It was so much fun to watch. Yep. So many comers and goers. So many different cars being fast at the beginning of a run, not fast at the end of a run. And like I say all the time, take away stage cautions, dude. This race would have been freaking even better, dude. Like, it would have been mint, but we get what we get, man. Xfinity's must tune in. Broadcast again. Fire job. What was at the end? Was it Nick Lights that wrecked? And here he's in the Warp Tour car and he wrecks, and then Parker Klickerman yells on the broadcast, "It's the Warp Tour car!" I started dying laughing, dude. That was so funny.
I had screaming kids.
Oh man.
I didn't even get to listen to the broadcast.
That was so funny, dude. I love CW broadcasts. I think they just do a great job. I love the overlays. I love the nonstop or the side-by-side commercials every time. I mean, the flow's good. Jamie McMurray, Parker Kligerman just feed off each other so well. I just think it's the premier broadcast of NASCAR racing. I mean, it is, and there's just nothing competes. And I would say the Arctic broadcast was pretty decent this week too. We had Regan Smith in there, did decent. But then they brought in the guy for the Cars Tour, I guess Flow Racing, to replace Jamie Little, and it was a way better broadcast. But with somebody,
he did pretty good.
I enjoyed it. I thought he did a great job. Yeah.
On the parts that I could hear.
On the parts you could hear. Good. Oh man. Alrighty. All right, let's do that cup race on Sunday, the Shriners Children's 500. We do need to talk about the Logano restart incident first. How BDN is that, man? I
I don't
understand that
know,
there's a black and
because
white rule, but like, come on, dude. We're getting so freaking caught up in this little minute bullshit that we miss the big picture of things sometimes. I don't know if that's how you feel, but that's how I feel. I feel like we're just getting caught in the weeds.
I got a photo right here, and at Kansas last year, remember when we had the 3 wide finish? It was Busher, Larson, and I think it was Bell. Coming across the line, they dictated Kyle Larson the winner because he got to the white stripe first, right? At the beginning of the start finish line. Well, I'm looking here, and I don't know if you guys can see it. But they're taking that.
Yeah.
He's already across the line, and that was the deciding factor right there. But he's already across the line.
Yeah.
So where's the start finish line? Where is it? Because, I mean, if it's Chris Buescher needs to have a win then. What are we doing? I can't believe it. I mean, we're just changing rules to help other drivers out. Let's look at this picture real quick. Who's on the outside? You're not gonna freaking believe it. It's Kyle Larson. Unbelievable. The guy behind him? I don't even know. I guess it doesn't really matter. There's Kyle Larson. That's why. If you can't see that NASCAR has a bias towards Hendrick, I mean, you're a lucky man. I mean, I'd love to shove my head in the freaking dirt all day and not notice anything else going on. I just pick out these inconsistencies all the time. It's rather depressing.
I mean, you're not wrong, dude. I mean, just look at last year with the Martinsville fiasco. Who's the one that benefited out of that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, you're not. You're definitely right on this one, man. I'm telling you, there's so much bias. I just think it's so ridiculous, dude. Like, come on. Like, I understand if you like change. I don't think it matters though. I think the leader. That's the privilege of being the leader. You should be able to dictate where the frick you go and when you go. That's why we have a restart zone. So
the only way to fix all of this is make Phoenix 2008 Phoenix.
Yes, put some grass in there.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah,
fix it. And put the freaking start finish line back on the front straightaway. What the hell? What is this?
Oh man, I agree, man. That just pissed me off, man. I'm not even a Joey Logano fan.
I
don't even give a shit about him, dude.
Good Lord.
I could give less than 10 shits if he finishes first or dead last. I don't care, but it's just the BS rule calls that we have all the time. And then I heard somebody on X say, well, if they don't call it there, then we're setting a precedent that we're gonna be mad because they don't call this and we don't call that and all the consistencies. At least we have some consistencies with this type of call, and it's like,
where's the consistency?
We're talking about consistency with people dying or almost dying with wrecks and unsafe cars and unsafe caution procedures, and not what's a caution and what isn't a caution. Not somebody moving over 2 freaking inches to the left on a restart. I mean, you gotta be kidding me, dude. We're just getting stupid now. Yeah. I thought it was a stupid call. I still think it's a stupid call. Ruined Logano's race. But yeah, I think it's so dumb. We do need to talk about what the whole point of this race was, right? What have we been saying, Tom, for the last, I don't know, since we started this YouTube channel?
Oh, please tell me Jesus Stone Tires.
Nailed it. That's all we talked about forever is these damn Jesus Stone tires. And so NASCAR brings the Jesus Stone tires, and then they bring a tire that's just a little bit softer than Jesus Stone tires. Call it an option tire. Why don't we just get the softest damn tires we can get, Tom? Why is that not a thing? Come on now.
I think you brought up a good point, Jay, earlier. Option tires are good under certain circumstances, right? Because it can change the strategy over the course of the race. Let's take, for example, the IndyCar St. Pete race. At one point in time, when we were doing our watch party, it was 78% Scott McLaughlin was going to win that race. And then throughout the entire race, what did we see? We saw absolute madness with, or not cautions, but with tire strategies, with pit strategies. Scott Dixon didn't even have a freaking radio. He was doing his own damn thing. You know, that was crazy. But it works there. Why does it work? No stages. That is the absolute killer of option tires. I mean, you could have had a freaking phenomenal race at Phoenix this weekend without stages with the option tire. That option tire, I feel like, is a step in the right direction for tire technologies. If Goodyear ever freaking studies what they got going on, which they don't, obviously, they call Bristol a mishap, and then they're all like, "You know, that was freaking great. We did it. That was me." You know, but then they never go back to it. So, excuse me. Option tires, you got to take stages out to make it work, or you got to make them like 2 seconds faster a lap, but they fall off at 20 laps or something like that. You know what I mean? You know, there's just so much freaking potential, but I feel like every time we go back to either tire hardness, stage cautions, or car terribleness, whatever you want to say it, whatever. Option tires did bring a little bit of excitement to this race. In two forms, and that is only, and I'm serious, only Priest and Dylan. It could have been a lot more
in there a little bit, just because he was in the back and drove through the field too. But yeah, but
yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you know, it's yeah, but really, Priest was the headliner of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, he put 4 seconds on freaking Bell, and then had 35 laps left, and then Bubba blew a tire and pretty much killed it. But you know, I feel like there's a lot of angles for this option tire, but it's none of it really matters unless you take away these stage cautions.
Yeah, I agree. There's only that's where I'm exactly. There's only two ways to go from. Well, there's three ways. One way is we get rid of the next gen car and go back to the COT, which every other racing series has adopted in NASCAR, which that's not going to happen. Next is we run two different style of tires like we saw this weekend, except a really softer tire. Take the primary tire, make that the option tire, and then make the option tire an even softer tire, and let them run, make it where they have to run each set throughout a race, but give them unlimited amount of sets of whatever they want. Kind of like how IndyCar does it, where it's like you have to run this at least one stint, right? You have to run this at least one stint. But sometimes it's the softer tire that's the preferred tire. Sometimes it's a hard tire that's the preferred tire. You never know depending on the track. Make that more like that is a NASCAR and then run stage cautions. Or we could just get rid of stage cautions and do that. Or we could get rid of stage cautions in general, get the softest damn tire we can get like we had at Bristol, let the race play out naturally. Because imagine this race, I said this off podcast. Imagine if this race only had those soft tires, or had softer than what the soft tires were, and we had no stage cautions.
It would have been a good race.
It would have been amazing. Byron was so good on takeoff speed. Bell was good on the long run, and Reddick was good on both ends. What kind of strategies we would have had? We'd have had eight pit stops in that race, 6, 7 pit stops, maybe. I don't know what the amount would have been with the softer tire, but being able to see people do the overcuts, being able to maybe manage tires a little bit better. Maybe to seen some more guys like Priest and Barry. Maybe they'd have been able to drive to the front. Maybe they'd been able to maintain track position without having to do something completely wild and different. It would have been fun to watch Logano drive his way back to the field with all the strategies. I mean, it would have been a freaking banger of a race without stage cautions and with a really, really soft tire. It reminds me of like any short track I go to, Tom. And when I go watch the Idaho 208 when that happens in August, you'll see it every year. There'll be some 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid with a lot of talent and a really fast race car, go off and dominate the first 7,500 laps of the race. Absolutely build a massive gap, starts lapping a bunch of people. And then by lap 200, when we got 8-10 to go, he's 3 laps down in 16th. And just burned his tires off. That's what I want to see these drivers do, man. Drive with an egg underneath their gas pedal. I want to see him have to manage tires I want to see the cream of the crop rise to the top, man. And that's how you do it. You do it through strategy, you do it through tire saving, and you do it through skill and setup by the engineers and the sim work you do. That's what I want to see. That's how races are won, and that's what
Yeah.
IndyCar is. That's why I love IndyCar so much, because IndyCar is the best of F1. It's the best of NASCAR. It's the best of IMSA racing, all in one sport. That's what makes IndyCar the best. That's why I love IndyCar. If we could get NASCAR to rotate kind of towards the IndyCar model, dude, we could have something special here. We see with soft tires on road course. We see what we've had on short tracks with soft tires. Let's get them everywhere, man. I think we're gonna see some hella good racing. Get back to
Yeah.
those Gen
Make
5 era.
make make NASCAR hard to drive again.
Yes, yes,
Stop making them into Cadillacs. They're not Cadillacs. They're race cars.
facts. I like it. I guess I like your quote. What is an option tire? We gotta talk about Catherine Legg, man. Poor Catherine Legg, dude. That was a rough weekend, dude. That was a rough weekend. I think you should get into it, Tom, because you had some good stuff on that this weekend.
Um, I don't know what to say, really. Um, you know, you've got these fanboys out there defending her, that really don't need to be defending her. Um, you've got a person who comes into the Cup Series on a debut at a relatively difficult racetrack, with a, I won't say extremely, but fairly underfunded car. You're asking for disaster. It's not like a super speedway. It's not like an intermediate where, nowadays you could just pedal to the metal and just drive in circles, not really have to think a lot. I mean, on the opening laps of this race, she was struggling to shift the car. I mean, at what point do we switch and say, hey, you know, she's a little bit of a safety hazard? Which again, you can't convince me that NASCAR cares about safety. You can't. They reject Mike Wallace into a super speedway race. A super speedway race. Be like Catherine Legg. And you know what? Jay, it could have been, you know, it could have been Marco Rubio in that freaking seat, who had some race experience in Europe or something with GT cars or whatever. I don't care. The dude's not ready. The girl's not, the woman's not ready. Just not ready for a track like that. That's not an easy track to tackle. I mean, Jay, on the opening lap, we were almost 6 wide going down into turn 3. So it's like, I don't understand the mentality here. And, I don't know in anybody's mind why this would think that this was a good idea at all. I really don't. This was not only just a terrible stain on Legg's career, but also a stain on NASCAR. Why they would approve something like that? I mean, you can't convince me that NASCAR cares. You just can't. You just can't convince me. It's that deep. It is. It's that deep. It goes that far. I don't think that there was a lot put in to the thought of this. I think NASCAR really cared about getting a full field at any cost. And it costs. It costs. It costs big time.
Yeah, I agree. I think, well, she's just set up to fail to begin with. I mean, the
Yeah,
fact
she
that
was.
NASCAR, these teams want to save money by not having practice or testing anywhere. I mean, how does anybody come to the Cup Series and actually have an opportunity to not only just make themselves look like a formidable race car driver, not look like a clown, but to actually find pace and actually be successful? I mean, I feel like the days of an SVG coming in and winning in a debut, or doing what he did in his debut, even if he didn't win it running up front like that, those days are long freaking gone, bro. We're never gonna see that again. We're never going to see an elite driver from another series jump into a cup car and be able to be successful. With the no testing, with no practice, it's never going to happen. And it's NASCAR that did it to themselves. And then they create this provisional to create a 41st century with no resources to make that successful. I mean, I think what was it? Dale Jr. made a good point. It's like the only way that they used to do it back in the day is you had to rent an ARCA car and go. So you would pull up sponsorship to run this race. Then you'd have to go get an ARCA car, spend money to run the ARCA car to be able to qualify to get into the race. He's like, why can't we just bring back happy hour practice? Why can't we bring back testing? Why can't we bring back honestly, why don't we have 2 practice sessions a weekend? We should have a qualifying practice and a race practice every freaking weekend for the top 3 series. How, is that too much to ask for? Even if you do a happy hour for the cup and then you do 30-minute practice, for qualifying, or even a 20-minute practice for qualifying. I mean, come on, dude. We got to do something different here, man. This isn't even just for the calf and leg deal. This is for like anybody. If you want to attract the Max Verstappens, you want to attract the Fernando Alonsos, the Scott McLaughlins, the Scott Dixons, the Elio Castroneveses, you got to give them opportunities to jump in and not look like a clown. If they go jump into it, Kyle Larson goes around the 8,500, he gets a month of practice. I mean, you go race at Le Mans, you're getting a whole week worth of practice. You go race at the Rolex, you get 2 weeks of practice. I mean, how can we have a premier racing series and have no practice? That is ridiculous. It makes no fucking sense. Every other racing series in the world has practice. Look, you could go race at your local short track in a little 4-cylinder beater-up car, and you'll get practice. But we can't get practice at the top echelon of stock car racing in America. That's crazy to me.
It's not anymore. I mean, or you got to change the definition of top echelon, because whatever this is, it ain't it. It ain't it.
It's ridiculous, man. Yeah. Only upside to that wreck, though, is it did take out Daniel Suarez. Fuck that guy. Yeah, what he did last week at Coda, he's irrehensible, dude. Unforgivable. Fuck Daniel Suarez.
I saw a post, and it was a picture of Donald Trump signing executive orders, and it was like, anybody who takes out Zillage is considered a terrorist. It shall be executed on American soil.
I love that.
It's pretty funny.
Oh man, that's how I feel. Oh man. All right. Yeah, Bell wins, man. 3 in a row, dude. See Bell. What a dominant race. You said it, dude. During we were texting during the race, you said I had never had a doubt. I didn't either, bro. Honestly, like even early in the race when Byron and Reddick looked like they might have the best 2 cars, I was like, no, Bell's still gonna win this race. So there it was, just methodically worked his way up to the front. I'm like, I had no doubt he was gonna lose this race, man. Not a doubt in the world.
Yeah, that final restart there. I texted you mid restart, and I was like, I'm not sweating it. Bell's got it. And I look back on it. The only real way that Bell was going to lose that race is if he got right hooked, and Denny Hamlin was not going to do that. I don't think Denny Hamlin would do that.
No.
You know what? He had it in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you text me, I didn't even watch the leaders on that restart, to be honest with you. I was watching like 3-4 rows back on that restart because I was like, I don't even need to know what's going on the front. Bell's going to win this race. I started watching to see them if they were going to wreck like mid-pack there. That's how confident I was. I mean, dude, Bell is on a streak, bro. He should have won all 4 races this year. Freaking Cole Custer did just absolutely destroy him at Daytona. He was going to win that race too, man. Bell is on fire this year, dude. I mean, I think we'll have to go back and look at our preseason prediction, but I think we both predicted him to win the championship this year. I think you predicted first, and I went with it too, because I'm like, dude, I just have a feeling, bro. I picked him to win the championship last year, and he would have won it if he didn't get BDN'd at Martinsville. And then that's why I picked him again this year. I was like, I know he's going to win the championship. So, dominant start to the year, and the points reflect it, man. Right now, he is climbed himself up to second in points behind Byron, 13 back, and then Reddick is obviously third, 22 back. And then you obviously have Blaney, I think, Elliott and Bowman, and then I think Larson are your top 7. So really, those are the guys we've seen all year long up at the front of the field. So It's gonna be an interesting regular season championship battle. Is there anything else you want to add to the race, or did we or this weekend the Cup race, any of these races that we didn't touch on?
Yeah, that freaking broadcast was terrible.
Oh
Holy
God,
cow. Oh my god, I
our
just
weekly
wanted to
theme.
puke on the ground like every 30 seconds. What the hell was that? What is going on with Mike Joy, man? What's these stats that he's given us? Where's he getting his information at?
Oh,
These
I know.
stats that he's given are, one, inaccurate, not
Uh-huh.
true. Two, they're just off the wall stupid crap. I don't even want to hear about it. I want to know about, it's good to look at the leader sometime, what he's got going on, maybe talk a little bit about his strategy. But when he's freaking 6 seconds out in front of second place, who the frick cares? Let's talk about something else. The dude's already freaking nailing it. Let him keep driving. Who cares? Let's go talk about something else. These guys are so freaking fixated on the leaders, and it showed in the IndyCar race too. I mean, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I can't, man. It's almost like it's cringy. It gives me the ick every time. I just, when people were complaining about Lee Diffie being a broadcaster last year for the Cup Series and how they were watching races with the volume off, I thought to myself, man, they have really indoctrinated these people. They really
100%.
have. And people enjoy this, man? Do people really enjoy this?
I don't know how.
I just, dude, it's just so bad.
Well, yeah, exactly. Getting stats wrong. I mean, what did Mike Biden Joy say at the end? He said, this is the closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series Phoenix history. And then, like, I remember, like, what was it, a few years ago when Harvick and Edwards drag raced to the line at Phoenix? Like, what are you talking about, dude? I mean, just like the fake stats. I don't know, man. The broadcast is terrible, man. It is terrible. It's a weekly tradition here. We're gonna keep shitting on it until they fix it. And it could be fixed. That's the problem. It could be fixed tomorrow if they gave a shit. They don't. They just don't. All right. Drivers of the week: Ryan Sieg, P4 Xfinity backup car, drove through the field. Unbelievable drive. I think career drive for Ryan Sieg this weekend. Unbelievable. Parker Retzloff, P11 in Xfinity. I know it's not top 10, but what this guy did with an Alpha Prime car this weekend, to be one spot short of the P10, I mean, after running top 15 all day, I think he deserves a shout. And then I'm also going to nominate Zane Smith. This is probably the best race I've seen Zane Smith put together. Everybody looks back at that Nashville race last year, finished P2, but dude, Zane Smith was top 15 all freaking race, dude. The whole race, man. That was good to see. That was cool to see. All right. Boneheads of the week: Tad had Moffitt dumping Tyler Reif, not being patient on that white checkered finish. Austin Hill hits the inside wall, absolutely ridiculous. And then Catherine Lake, clownery weekend, just embarrassing, honestly.
I can't wait to read your guys' hate comments. I really can't.
I can't.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh, man. All right, Tom, we got some races this weekend. It's an onslaught of racing. We got Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup at Vegas. We got IMSA, the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship at Sebring for the 12 hours of Sebring. Let's fucking go, man. I'm so excited, dude. And then F1 is back, dude, at Australia, Albert Park, man. Another banger of a race it's going to be. Dude, F1 and Australia is just so freaking beautiful, dude. This is probably my top 3 favorite track on the F1 circuit, man. I freaking love it, dude. It's such a wild card, too. We'll get into that. But yeah, big time race weekend here. Probably the biggest race weekend we've had so far this year. Super excited for it. Notable entries for the Truck Series: we got William Sawalich with Tricon, Justin Haley and Corey Day, both with Spire, and then Luke Fenhouse back with Thorsport this weekend in the 66. Xfinity, Almirola making another start for the JGR number 19 team. All right, let's make our picks. First race on the docket this weekend is on Friday afternoon, the Michelin Pilot Challenge Series, the Alan J Automotive Network 120 at Sebring. This race could be interesting. It's one of those 2-hour races that were the normal custom that we see in the Pilot Challenge Series. Daytona, I feel like, was a wild card. I feel like we're not going to see a race like we saw at Daytona at all. I feel like the way that a lot of these cars performed at Daytona, especially a lot of the teams that didn't have the BOP set for the more sophisticated turns, not built for the straight line speed. I think those teams are going to hurt this weekend. Um, and the team I looked to that really struggled at Daytona just felt like they just never had the speed there in the Grand Sport. It was controlled by the McLaren, it was controlled by the Aston Martin, it was controlled by the Ford, and the Porsche. The one manufacturer we did not see up front that just really struggled on the long straightaways, that was the BMW. So for Grand Sport, I'm taking the number 96 BMW team. I think, or Turner Motorsports team. I think they're going to win this race. And I think that they win it going away. The BMWs have been on fire this year. Their GT4 program, if you guys remember watching their GT4 stuff over at the 12 Hours of Bathurst, they were just dominant and kicking butt there. I think that their GT3 program's doing good as well. We see what they're doing in the World Endurance Championship. I think this weekend's going to be a big weekend for BMW and Grand Sport. Give me the number 96 Turner Motorsports team. And then my dark horse, I know this is kind of a weird dark horse, but it's not the favorite Ford team in the Ground Sports Series. I'm going with the number 13 McCumbee Motorsports team. Ford is just on a roll this year. Their GT3, GT4 programs are just on fire. I think it's a good dark horse. I'm going to use it up now because I don't think they're going to be a dark horse for long. Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. It's a newer team. They've had a lot of struggles. We'll see if Ford can translate the speed that they had from, well, again, like I said earlier, the Fords in the low braking corners are just unbelievable. I mean, really where they struggled at Daytona was in the long straightaways, going down the back straightaway and then going down the front straightaway. I think Ford, this is a track that's going to suit this team really well this weekend. I think we'll look for them in Grand Sport. All right, Tom, who are your Grand Sport picks this weekend?
All right. So for my favorite, I'm going with the 57 Mercedes Windward because, and just a little bit of a precursor here, I'm choosing this team out of pure hate, out of pure spite for IMSA because of what they did to Windward in the Daytona 24. A lot of you may not know, but they passed up on the GTD Pro Mercedes Windward on a very, very high-ranking award, comeback of the race. Windward was what, 2 laps down?
Four laps
down?
Yeah, 4 laps
Something
down.
like that. They awarded it to some freaking Acura team that didn't even finish on the lead lap.
Yeah.
Stupid. So, I'm going with Windward for Grand Sport. I know it's not the WeatherTech series. I don't even care. BDI is coming back in full force, and we're going to watch this number 57 win the race and just shove it in IMSA's face. Can't wait for that. The dark horse, I got to do it. I'm going with it. It's the number 30 Ford LAP Motorsports. Yeah, go Ford.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick, dude. I think Ford's a great dark horse this weekend. I think this track's going to suit them extremely well. I'm excited to see how they can translate it. I want to see if they can continue with the momentum with this with the dark horse Mustang, man. It's been an interesting year so far for Ford. Not what I expected. All right, and then for TCR, I'm going with the number 98 Hyundai. They lost Daytona to their teammate late in that race. I think they were a little faster, but they're playing a little team orders. I think they wanted to secure that 1-2 finish. I think they get the redemption this week at Sebring. The 98, the Hyundais in TCR are just so good. I think they've taken a step back since they lost Robert Wickens. I think Robert Wickens was giving them so much data and information. It's going to be hard to replace him. But they still got Gottsacker behind the wheel. And Wilkins. I just think this team is just primed to win a lot of races this year, whether it's the 76, the 33, or the 98. 33, I think, is probably the weakest of the three. I think it's going to be another great battle up front, but I think Hyundai's the team to beat, and the team that's going to lead that is the Andretti Autosport number 98 team. And then my dark horse, I'm going to go with the number 52 Audi with I think it's the Baker Motorsports team with the a lot of struggles. The Audis have struggled a lot in the TCR series. Their TCR series has been really struggling for the last couple of years. I think I took them as my dark horse a lot of weeks last year. They've had a couple glimpses, I guess, of good runs, but nothing spectacular. Maybe this weekend suits them. Who knows? Maybe the struggles they had at Daytona, maybe they'll translate and they'll be good here at Sebring. I think it's a good dark horse pick.
Honestly, everything Jay said, I'm going the same picks. I'm not sharing the love here We saw a lot of good things out of that 98 Hyundai last year. Um, Being fast. Wasn't that the ride that uh
No, Wickens was in
Robert
the
Wickens?
33 car.
Oh, that's right.
But
My bad.
Gottsacker was
And
his teammate, and he moved over to the 98 this year.
oh, that's right. That's what I was
Yeah,
getting
that's
to.
what I'm getting.
So yeah. I'm everything what Jay said. I'm on his bandwagon train, or not. I'm on the J bandwagon train here for the TCR team with the 98 Hyundai and the 52 Audi.
Heck yeah, man! I'm excited for this race, man. I think the last year race for the Michelin Pilot Challenge at Sebring was freaking banger, man. We had so many different audibles and wrecks and strategy changes. It was a fun race. I mean, they're always a fun race because the 2 hour race. It seems like if you start up front, you just never seem to find a way to win because it's always going to be some random caution at some point in the race. It's going to flip the strategy backwards on you, and then it turns into, can we make it to the end of the race on fuel? Do we have enough time for our spare driver to get some time here in the car? I mean, it's always a fun race. I'm excited to see this one on Friday. All right, also on Friday, we got the Truck Series, the EcoSave 200. Man, I don't know how I feel about this race. The Truck Series of Vegas has always been hit and miss for me. We've had some good races. We've had some bad races. Um, I don't know, man. This is the first real test for the Truck Series on a mile and a half this year. Who's going to be quick and who's going to hit the ground running? I think it's going to be Corey Heim. I mean, he dominated the mile and a half last year in the Truck Series. Tricon is just so good. I think that they're going to be able to continue that momentum. I don't think that he's going to be, I don't know, man. I'm just so indifferent about Corey Heim. It seems like he can dominate and control races so well, but he can't clutch some of them, or he can't seal the deal in the championship. He's going to win races. I think it starts this weekend with Vegas. I'm just going to go on a win with that one. And then for my dark horse, I'm just because I'm a huge fan of this guy. I just think he needs more oval experience, more asphalt experience. He's absolutely insane behind the wheel of a midget or a sprint car. If he could just figure out this NASCAR style racing, man, I think he's going to be a good long distance investment as a good Cup driver. I'm going to go Corey Day. I'm just a huge fan. I've seen him in person, and what he could do behind the wheel of a race car is just absolutely insane. I would like to see him do some good stuff here in the truck.
Okay, two great picks. I think Heim's going to be really strong. I think there's going to be a couple people that can stick with him. One of those being Caden Honeycutt. I think he's got the absolute, juggernaut of the team behind him. He's got Phil Gould on the box. I mean, you put Phil Gould on anything, and he can make it into a race-winning team. Caden Honeycutt is coming up through the ranks, and I think he's going to have a phenomenal year this year. Obviously, I mean, Daytona's Daytona, so whatever. Look, I really feel like this Las Vegas race, we're going to see some people who's going to have speed throughout the rest of the year, and I sincerely think Caden Honeycutt's going to be one of those. So I'm going to go with Honeycutt for my favorite. For my dark horse, just announced a new sponsorship deal for his team this weekend and throughout potentially the rest of the year with Morgan and Morgan Associates. It's Frankie Muniz. I think he's doing a lot for that Rome Brothers racing team. And he had an awesome finish at Daytona, and got wrecked out in Atlanta, which was I seem to agree with his statement after his wreck in Atlanta. But regardless, I think Frankie Muniz can come out here and potentially do something. I know those Rem Brothers race cars typically aren't that good, but it seems like they got a lot of funding coming through that team now, and Josh Room maybe believing in this guy a little bit, maybe giving him some good equipment. I don't know. I'm excited about it, and I think this could be a turnaround for RBR and for Muniz's career.
Heck yeah, I like those picks. Alrighty. We're not gonna make any picks on the F2 races this weekend, but it should be fun. If you guys go back to our season preview video, I think we went over F2 pretty thoroughly there with you guys. So that would be this weekend on Friday and Saturday. On Saturday, though, we also have the Xfinity. this name, man. Xfinity in their names, bro. The Liuna,
Yeah.
at Vegas. Yeah, that's an interesting name. I'm gonna go Almirola back to back. I think he wins again. I just think JGR Toyotas at this track is just good. I look at the early parts of the schedule and it just screams JGR to me. When we go to like Phoenix, we go to Vegas, we go to uh, Coda. I mean, a lot of these tracks are favoring them right now, and I think it's gonna do the same again this weekend. I'm gonna take Almirola to go back to back. I'm also going to take his teammate, Taylor Gray, as my dark horse. I think he could legitimately get his first career win this weekend at Vegas. I don't think he ever won a truck race. Do you remember him ever winning a truck race? He was always up front contending. I just can't remember him ever winning a truck race.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
he
he has.
did. Let me look it up.
But he hasn't won an Xfinity race. He has been up front every single one of the races so far this year at Daytona, Atlanta, Phoenix, Coda. He's been up front competing at the front of the field for a win. I think Taylor Gray is a great dark horse pick this weekend. I'm going to take him as a dark horse now because I think in a couple weeks from now, we're going to be talking about him as a favorite. And I think he's going to be a playoff contender, championship contender. Why not this weekend at Vegas be the race that he gets, the race that he gets his first career win?
Yeah, he doesn't have a win.
Yeah, I didn't think he had won a truck race. Crazy to think about because he's always up front.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So my picks. I'm kind of gonna go a little bit of a different route here because I really do believe in this. I'm gonna choose two dark horses for my drivers this weekend. My favorite, it's gonna be Sieg. Sieg is so fast. I remember Texas last year where I was kind of an outlier when I chose Sieg for my favorite there as well. And you know what? Good God, he was freaking fast, and he was freaking fast for the rest of the year. I think he takes that speed. I think he applies it to this Las Vegas race. I think we see Sieg up front. I really do. And I think he not off of luck or anything else, just purely based off of speed. And so that's why I'm choosing Sieg. Obviously, he's the type of guy who doesn't give up. He drives his heart out every lap. There's only a couple drivers out there, I feel like, who gives their 100% every single lap of a race. One of those drivers is Sieg. And then for my dark horse, I believe a driver of very, very similar statute. I think it's Retzlaff for my dark horse. I think Retzlaff has really proven himself, especially in an Alpha Prime car, to go out there and just drive the freaking wheels off of it. At a place like Vegas, anything can happen. I really do believe that. And with these Xfinity cars, honestly, the best stock car racing probably, well, yeah, for the past 4 years now, honestly. Yeah, I think both of these guys, I think they're going to do freaking phenomenal this weekend. And I'm really excited to watch this Xfinity race. I'm really excited.
It's gonna be a banger of a race. I like the Sieg pick, man. Honestly, I was gonna pick him, but I had a feeling that you were gonna take him as your favorite, so I left him alone for you this week.
Yeah.
I didn't want to share the love on that one because I figured I'll let you have all the glory when we see Sieg get his first career win. I legitimately think it could happen this weekend.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Texas race last year, the Homestead race last year. I think Sieg's gonna be an absolute threat in this race. I think it's gonna be fun, man. I love the Xfinity series, and then we take him to a mile and a half like Vegas, dude. These guys gonna be slipping and sliding all over the place in that desert sun heat, bro. It's gonna be a fun race, man. I'm excited. Also, I'll be watching doubleheader on Saturday because I'm definitely having this race on in the background as well. The 12 hours of Sebring for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. God, this race is gonna be so much fun, man. I love the 12 hours Sebring. We started the early morning. We ended the nighttime hours. We've seen some great races at Sebring over the last few years. I mean, if you remember, what was it, a couple years ago when they had that big pile up towards the end, took out both the Porsches, it took out the Acuras, and the Cadillac ended up sneaking off with the win with the Whelen Action Express team. I think that we're going to see, and then last year, I mean, we saw a banger of race 2 with the LMP2 class. I mean, they stole the show last year. You had Zilich absolutely putting on a Chad drive at the end to drive through the field back to the lead. We saw Hunter McElrea make a 3-wide dive bomb moves into turn 17, which was absolutely freaking thrilling to watch. I'm excited, man. I think this is going to be a fun race all the way through. People, Durrani can't do some shenanigans this year and put himself up on the tire pack like he did last year. I just think it's going to be a fun race. I think a lot like I think it's going to be a lot like Daytona in the fact that GTP and GTD Pro stole the race. Most specifically GTD Pro. And I think it's going to be a lot like that again. I think GTP is going to be an absolute whirlwind of a race. I think you're going to see so many different leaders, different lead changes. If you guys remember, Valkyrie with the Aston Martin Valkyrie, they're going to be making their first start in IMSA this weekend. They were terrible a couple weekends ago at the at Qatar. They really struggled to even finish the race. We had a door fly off of one of the cars at one point. So many mistakes. It's gonna be interesting to see how they stack up against the IMSA style field with more of the LMDH cars instead of just the LMH cars. It's gonna be interesting to see how they stack up. I just hope they can finish. Lamborghini, can they finish this race? I think that's another big storyline coming into this race. They've just absolutely made fools of themselves at Daytona by quitting an hour into the race. Let's see if they can figure out some of their woes. With that being said, though, I think it's going to be basically your big three again. I think BMW is on a roll this year. I don't know what they did in the offseason, but that car, their BOP, I don't know what it is, but those BMWs are extremely quick. I think they're going to be up front all week, all night long. I also think we're going to see the Porsches up front all night long as well. But with that being said, my pick is going to be, oh man, Tom Blomqvist, Colin Braun, Scott Dixon, and the number 60 Acura. They're going to get redemption for Daytona. They were right there in contention late in that race at Daytona. Did not have the speed of the Porsche. They just lingered there all day long in about that third or fourth place spot behind the likes of the Porsches and the likes of the BMWs. I think they get one up on them this week and they win the 12 Hours of Sebring. My dark horse, I'm going with the number 5 Proton. This team just never ceases to amaze me, Tom. Every damn race, they find a way to put themselves in the top 5. It's insane what they're able to do with this customer Porsche, man. How could you not pull for this team, man? It's just their driver lineup is solid. They don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves on pit road. They don't crash the car. They just keep developing it, keep working on it, keep making adjustments, and they get faster and faster and faster every week. How could you not like the Proton team, man? That's who I'm taking as my dark horse. Who do you have at GTP, Tom?
All right. So for my GTP favorite, of course, I'm going with these guys. I feel like they had a pretty damn good run going in at Daytona, and got caught out with some suspension issues there by hitting the curbs a little too aggressively. I think they learned their lesson. I think they're going to come into Sebring. Probably they have to. They're going to have a little bit more beefier suspension. They have to. Just because of the state of that track. But just for the overall of Hello Polo, we're going with the number 93 Acura. They're going to go back, they're going to get to Sebring, and they're going to put on a freaking show, and I'm really excited for that. I don't even think they really got to flex their muscles a lot at Daytona. I think it's just a really crappy, really shitty situation that they got put into, and they didn't get the flex. So I think that there's a lot of speed. I think there's a great team behind these guys, and I'm really, really excited to see them at Sebring. With my dark horse, of course, man, I'm going with the Proton. I mean, who else? You can't go with Lamborghini. They'll freaking go 10 minutes into the race, and then they'll retire. And then you got the freaking Valkyrie. They can't even figure out a door latch. So I'm not going with those guys. That's crazy. So those are my two. Those are my two for this weekend.
Heck yeah, dude. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, those poor guys at Aston Martin, man. They're gonna have a long year, dude. I actually maybe it's a bold prediction now, Tom. I think by the end of this year, I think Aston Martin is gonna consistently be faster than the Lamborghini. Hot take. I think so.
I mean, at this point, I don't think that's far-fetched.
I think they're gonna figure it out way before the Lamborghini figures their shit out. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a great race. Like I said, I think it's gonna be. There's gonna be so many different manufacturers up at the front of this field. They won't be Lamborghini, they won't be Aston Martin, but I think everybody else will have a chance at the front of this field. All right, LMP2. I think this is going to be the show stealer once again here in this race at Sebring. I mean, last year this LMP2 class was just stacked. It's stacked again. I mean, I'm going with my sentimental favorite, man. I'm going with Puff the Magic Dragon, dude, with AO Racing, the number 99. Every time I see that car in front, man, it makes me happy and fuzzy inside, man. It makes me feel like a child. I think I've got the Lego Peugeot. If they don't make a freaking Lego Puff the Magic Dragon in the next few years, I'm going to be so disappointed. Somebody at freaking Lego needs to get their shit together. You know how good that car would sell, bro? That car would sell out in a week, bro. That would be such an awesome freaking Lego design. I just think they got a great driver lineup, man. They were really fast at Daytona, had their issues, but who didn't? Who didn't at Daytona? I mean, that LMP2 class, it seemed like anybody that at Daytona wanted to lead that race ended up having troubles late in that race. Um, I just think I'm going to go with AO. My dark horse, I was going to go with the number 8 Tower Machine for specific reasons, but I had a feeling Tom was going to take it, so I'll leave him on the table for Tom. Um, ripping the chat for that team, man. How BS is that? Big Daddy IMSA. Well, we can get into that again, but that just irritates me. I'm going to go with the number 73 Pratt Miller team. Again, like Tom said with the Acura and the 93 Acura at Daytona with their issues, the 73 Pratt Miller, they didn't even get a chance to flex their muscles. They had so many issues in that race. They didn't really have a chance. I think they're going to work out a lot of bugs. They've done a lot of testing in the offseason. And like I always say, man, Pratt Miller comes into every motorsport they ever do with a big appendage swinging. They're going to do it this year. They're going to do it in IMSA. They're going to do it with LMP2. I think it's just a matter of time before you see this team in victory lane. And why not this weekend? I'm taking them as my dark horse.
Good Lord. All right. Yeah, LMP2, my favorite. Big Daddy IMSA. We're going with the number 8 Tower. They absolutely got screwed over for the Daytona 24. I don't even care. They're the 2025 Daytona 24 winners. Fight me on it. Fight me. Please. Fight me. You know what? I don't even need to defend this. So, moving on. Same thing with the Dark Horse. These guys didn't get a fighting chance. I feel like it's crappy. But I really do feel like they got some speed. So I'm really just excited to see that number 73 Pratt Miller chug it around Sebring, and don't be surprised when they win the race. Don't be surprised.
I'm excited for the LMP2 class, man. I think it's gonna be such a great race, dude. It's just so stacked. LMP2 is not in any better place now than it's ever, or is in a better place now than it's ever been. I feel like it's just so much fun to watch. And even and what was it? They were talking to Connor Zillage. I saw an interview with him, and they were like, out of all the cars you've driven and everything you've done, what is your favorite car you've ever driven? He said instantly, without even a hesitation, LMP2. I was like, hell yeah, dude. I love LMP2s, man. I really do. Sentimental favorite car class in the world, man. All right, for GTD Pro, a little bit slimmer field than what we saw at Daytona, which is to be expected. It usually always kind of tilts off a little bit after Daytona for the full season championship. I'm going with the number 4 Corvette, and the reason I'm going for him is because of old Tommy Milner. The Bird National Wildlife Foundation. I got the shirt. I'm supporting the birds, man. I'm supporting the birds. I mean, after what happened at Daytona, still in the show between them and the BMWs, man. I want to see more chaos and carnage out of those manufacturers. I think Corvette is primed and tuned to win this race. I think they would have won the race, barring that BMW controversy, if they didn't get hot-headed and have the damage and then end up giving themselves a penalty. I think the Corvette was going to win that race. Ford was good, but down the long straightaways, man, those Corvettes were just unbelievable. It's going to come back a little bit to Ford, I think, this weekend, but I just feel primed and ready for Corvette to kind of take that step forward this year and really show that they're title fighters, title contenders, and it all starts right here at Sebring. Then my darkers, we talked about it earlier. I'm going with the number 14 Vassy, man. I just feel bad for this team. They were the top of the freaking mountaintop 2 years ago, and they have just struggled with this outdated GT3 car, man. And I know Lexus is designing a new car, and they're going to have it ready by 2027, but man, we got 2025, 2026 to just kind of wheel this thing back home, man, and see some more prominence out of this team. And I mean, I remember, what was it, 2 years ago where they absolutely annihilated the field at Sebring? Can we get a little bit more magic? I know Ben Barnicoat ain't behind the wheel, but come on, man. I just want to see a little bit of that Vassy magic this weekend, boys. Come on.
All right, so for GT Pro, I'm going with the back-to-back wins here. I'm going with the number 65 Ford. The Corvette is fast. There's something very special about this car that was put on display at Daytona. I think that whatever they got going on, it's going to be the same thing in Sebring. I think they're going to be really fast. I think they're going to grab pole. I think that they're going to be a absolute dominant force in this race. And I really hope that I'm not wrong, because I just, you know, because I shit on the car so bad. I really did. That's
You
why.
feeling
That's why
bad?
I want him to do. Well, what I said whenever they start winning, I'll eat crow, and I ate the crow, brother. I ate the crow. So now I'm rooting for him. And let's be honest here, I chose him as a dark horse every race last year, every race in IMSA and in WEC, and I was a firm shit talking believer from the beginning, and now you could take away the first part of that, and now I'm a believer. So I really think Ford can do something here. I'm really excited to see what they can do, um, and looking forward to the 65 running up front in Sebring. And then my dark horse, I'm going with Vassar Sullivan. I'm a shit talking believer, baby. And I'll eat crow when it happens with the 14. So, yeah, that's it.
Heck yeah. All right, and then when it gets to GTD, I don't know. Then this team could be considered a dark horse because it's really not that as strong as it has been in the past. But I came here on the off season, and I blatantly bold faced told you guys watch out for Aston Martin this year, man. They're going to be a dominant GT3 program, and they have just let me down. But I'm not eating crow yet. I'm not giving up on this team. I think that they're going to win this race. Aston Martin had showed pace at Qatar in the World Endurance Championship. Wasn't winning pace. They couldn't keep up really with the Cadillacs or the McLaren. But this is IMSA, man. This is GTD. This is where it all gets laid on the line. This is going to be an interesting race. I think there's going to be a lot of carnage, a lot of mistakes. It always seems to be that way with the GTD class. I just think that the Aston Martin there's just what glimpses they showed last year, and then looking at their BOPs is not really killing them that bad. I just think this is a week where harder racing and Aston Martin finally get some momentum on their side and leads off into this championship battle. I think Sebring is a great way to start. And then my dark horse, I'm going to go with the number 78 Forte machine, and that's because old PK is back behind the wheel this weekend of that number 78 team. And by golly goodness, man, did they have a damn good race going at Daytona until they got walled going into turn one late in that race. Parker Kligerman woke up from his nap to find out that his car was destroyed. Heartbreaking, man. I think Parker Kligerman is underrated race car driver, and I mean the other drivers are good too, man. And the team is good. They're fast. There's one thing Lamborghini could do right, and that's build a damn GT3 car. And I think this weekend they're going to be a threat, man.
All right. So for my favorite, I'm going back to back here with Windward. They got screwed over for that award in Daytona, and they were freaking fast. They were probably the best GTD car in Daytona. You know what? I'm going to stand on that hill. I think they were the fastest car.
I agree.
Yeah, and so you know what? I'm probably going to root on these guys all year long. They got screwed over, and I hope that they shove it back into the face of IMSA for the rest of the season. I hope they take the championship. You know what? It started in Daytona. They're just going to continue their absolute tear here in Sebring. And then for my dark horse, I'm going with the Iron Dames. Honestly, not a bad pick. They lost an integral part of their team and a driver last year, and I feel like they've just been continuing to grow that program without her. But you know what? I still think that there's a chance. I think they're still pretty damn good race car drivers, and I'm excited to see what they can do at Sebring.
That's a good pick. They had some glimpses at Qatar, man. They did. They looked like at some points that race, it looked like they were going to compete for a top 5, and then other times it looked like, whoa, what is happening? So they can work out the inconsistencies. I think that's a great pick. All right, next, F1's back, man. The Australian Grand Prix. This is one of my, like I said, this is one of my top 3 favorite races of the year. Australia is the biggest freaking wild card. I mean, we've had great races, great finishes, weird strategies. Late race crashes, weird safety cars at weird points, upset winners. I even look back at last year. That was kind of when Red Bull kind of got exposed right there in Australia last year when Max Verstappen leading the race, and it kind of changed the whole world championship picture. I think we're going to see a little bit different this year. I think I said this at the beginning. We've talked about it for the last 2 years, Tom. Ferrari, man, they always seem to start the season off just so much better than everybody else, it feels like. And then they get to the summer months, and then they suck. They just are terrible. They can't even get out of their own way. And then you get into the end of summer, into the fall, and then to the end of the season, they're the best team on the grid again. I think, and then it's just the cycle continues. It's just an instant cycle of insanity. I think that this year, bringing in Lewis Hamilton is going to be a huge asset to this team. As much as I love Carlos Sainz, I think he's a fantastic race car driver. I think maybe this Lewis Hamilton is the little missing link they need to be successful for a full duration of a season. And I think they kick off the gates strong here at Australia. We saw Carlos Sainz win this race last year. I think we see Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc go 1-2 this weekend. I think this is a destined Ferrari win, in my opinion. And I think it'd be cool to see Lewis Hamilton win in his debut with Ferrari. I think that would prove a lot to get into this season. We'll see how they develop their car in the offseason. The car looks good. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lewis Hamilton as my favorite this weekend. My dark horse, I'm gonna go with Yuki Tsunoda. I was really impressed with what they were able to do. Williams and RB Red Bull buy one get one free team or whatever you want to call it. Those two teams during the open test that we saw in the offseason at Bahrain, man, were they really consistent and fast. I mean, they weren't the fastest cars by any stretch of the imagination, but they were consistent. And I think that's what's going to take for them to get points this weekend. I think Yuki Tsunoda is a points contender this weekend, maybe even more than just that last points position.
All right. Here we go. It's the Australian Grand Prix, and I might sound like a broken record here, but hear me out. This weekend, Australia, Melbourne, phenomenal racetrack, amazing starts, amazing finishes, amazing strategies. Like Jay said, crazy safety cars, crazy. It's just an unpredictable racetrack. Everything about it, unpredictable. It's great. It's a race fan's dream. Everything that you want in a race can be encompassed in this racetrack. But there's one thing that not a lot of people are talking about. There's one thing that's going to be happening this weekend that not a lot of people are talking about. And you know what it is? All the weekend long, it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain all weekend long. And who's the king of rain racing? Come on, let's hear it. Verstappen! That is gonna be my favorite. You know what? He could take a frickin' Sauber car and win with it in the rain. I don't even care. He could take a frickin', I don't know, Hot Wheels car from my son's bedroom and still win in that F1 race. Well, I don't even think it's a question. If it's downpouring during the race, count it over, boys. Pack it up. Verstappen's on the podium, and he's on the top step, baby. We're going to watch it happen in 4K. And then, for my dark horse, I actually really believe in this guy. He turned my head at Monza last year during that free practice before he wrecked. He was pulling faster lap times than Hamilton. So, keep that in mind. We still potentially could have a bad Mercedes car, which narrows it down to 2 drivers, and it's not Russell. My God, that guy, holy crap. But we're going with Antonelli for Dark Horse, and in fact, he's going to be Rookie of the Year as well. So, yeah, Lawson doesn't have shit on him. Whoever the other guys are, Bortoletto and
Adjar.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, those guys don't have shit on them. But Antonelli, for my dark horse, I think, and I'm pretty confident in this, we're going to see him at the top step of the podium this year.
Well, I agree.
Just a matter of time.
Those are great picks, man. I'm so excited for this race, dude. I think you're right on the money with Antonelli. Like you said, man, he's had flashes of freaking greatness, and then he's had some moments. We'll see how he matures throughout the duration of the season, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see how Mercedes stacks up this year, because everybody's kind of looking at the Ferrari and McLaren's as being the best 2 cars to start this year. We'll see how Mercedes stacks up, especially with Antonelli. All right, the final race of the weekend. Actually, let's do our Formula 1 fantasy before we get into Cup Series. I think it's a good spot to fit this in. F1 fantasy. If you guys want to join, the link is in the description below, or in our Discord. So if you go in the description below, join our Discord, go into our Discord, look up Digga Boys Fantasy Games. There's a link to an invite to our fantasy league, as well as a code that you're going to need to get into the fantasy league. So join, come have some fun. But for this weekend, you get what is it, $1 million salary cap for your 5 drivers and 2 manufacturers. Last year I struggled, man. I think I figured it out towards the end of the year, and I think I'm gonna try and institute some of that into this year. My 5 driver lineup, I'm gonna go with Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Antonelli, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, and Nico Hulkenberg is my 5 driver lineup. Going with a little bit of experience, a little bit of youth, and a little bit of fast cars as well. I feel like that was a good budget. I mean, I don't know if it was felt that way for you, Tom, designing your lineup, but dude, the freaking prices on some of these guys was a little too egregious. I feel like it's gonna adjust obviously as we get through the rest of the year, but I'm hoping I don't have to change it too many times because you can take a penalty hit for that.
Yeah. Jay, I was thinking along the same lines as you when developing my team lineup here because I've got Hamilton, Antonelli, Hulkenberg, Alonso, and Bortoletto, um, and so um, yeah, we'll get into the next. Let's get into constructors, and then I'll say my why.
Okay. Manufacturers, I'm gonna go Ferrari. I'm just gonna bank that they're gonna be the fast ones to come off the gate. It just feels like every year they're just always the first ahead of everybody, and then they're always the best at the end of the year. They never figure out the middle part. I'm gonna say that trend continues this year. Um, and then I'm gonna go with Haas as my second manufacturer. I just have a feeling Haas might be able to be competitive this year. They made a big change. We don't have Hulkenberg in the car anymore. I think that's a hurt. They don't have K Mag in the car. Say what you will about K Mag, I still think he's a good driver and fun to watch. But bringing in Ocon, also with the rookie with Behrman, I just have a feeling Haas is going to have a little bit more speed this year. They're still running the Ferrari engines. Like I said, I think Ferraris. I think their power plant is just tops right now, across the boards. And I think that uh, some of the early tracks, like we have China, we have Australia, a lot of these early tracks is going to benefit Haas. So I'm gonna go with them.
All right, so when I'm choosing my lineup, I try to diversify on some of the top teams here. Now, I want to make it known I didn't choose um any Red Bulls. Nothing. No driver, no constructor. But what I did do is I grabbed Ferrari with Hamilton. I grabbed Mercedes with Antonelli. So then the next big contender in my eyes is McLaren. So I got McLaren as a constructor. And honestly, Hamilton, Antonelli, and McLaren took up all my budget. So
Yeah.
that's why I had to go Hulk, Alonso, Bortoletto, and for my other constructor, it is Sauber. So I'm really hoping that McLaren, Hamilton, and Antonelli will be my big bulk of points going through this. You bring up a good point with Haas though that I really didn't think about. Haas has really turned it up. Um, at the end of last year, and I think that they're on the right track for this year. We'll see. We saw that with Haas a couple years ago, or not a couple, really 2017, 2018 era. So I don't know. I'm still kind of skeptical on Haas. I mean, for sure they're going to be better than Sauber, I believe. But just with my picks and how I wanted to diversify everything, I feel like this is the best combination.
I like it. I think it's a good lineup. I mean, it's a crapshoot anyway because we're going in the first race
Yeah,
of the
right.
season. Uh, Basically, like I said, dude, I tried to design mine trying to look forward to the next 3 to 4 weeks. I was looking at the tracks
Yeah.
coming up, kind of how I feel the trend of the season's going to start, and I kind of just base it on that with my budget. Um, but I'm sure I'm gonna have to change it at some point. You always have. I feel like your fantasy, you're gonna have to change at least 3 times. If you're gonna win it, I think 2 to 3 times in a year, you're gonna have to change and make adjustments, especially when budget or prices on drivers and manufacturers go up or down. And then the trends of the season change through the different types of cycle of the season. So it'll be interesting. All right, Tom. Last few things we got here on the podcast. First off, we're gonna make our picks for the Cup race, the Pennzoil 400 this weekend at Vegas. Uh, I think Vegas is a great track for this next gen car. I think it's going to be a great race, to be honest with you. I don't have really anything bad to say about this race. I love Vegas. I've been there in person. It's a fun race to watch a race at. I feel like Vegas always puts on a good race. I think Vegas and Kansas are probably and Homestead are probably the 3 best tracks that the next gen cars performed on, and I don't think it's even close. I think we're going to see another banger of a race this weekend. With that being said, I like the number 4. And I'm not talking about Lyle. I'm talking about 4 in a row, baby. I'm talking about C Bell. I'm talking about C Bell this weekend, boys. I think this is his best track in the circuit. I said I before he won Phoenix, I came on here and I think I said that I think Bell, if he could, I think he can win 3, 4 in a row. And here he is. Vegas. I've got this one checked, man. Vegas is gonna win. He's gonna take the points lead from Byron. I think he's gonna dominate this race. I know a lot of weird shit can happen. It's these cup races, manufacturer cautions, manipulated finishes, stupid rule calls, non-safety and for drivers. I mean, there's a lot of shit that could go wrong, but I think Bell is going to do what he needs to do this weekend, dominate this race. He goes 4 in a row, and then I don't even know what's after Vegas. It doesn't matter. I think Bell can rip off a good chunk of races. I think he wins 10 races this year, minimum. He's unbelievable. Champion for 2025, as long as he can get to Phoenix without any hassle or any trouble. Then my dark horse, I'm going with Hosen Karsavar once again. I think he's going to be in the top 15 all day, even probably top 10 by the end of the race, dude. Watch out for Hocevar this weekend.
You know what, Jay? Those are such phenomenal picks. I'm not sharing the love, brother. I am going Bell and Karsavar as well. There's not a better lineup.
No.
I mean, you could put Kyle Larson in there, but I just feel it, man. It's hung money time. It's like it's been building up. It's going to happen this weekend. I know it. I feel it, brother. Who else?
Reddick maybe was the other one I was
Reddick
thinking.
Maybe. Bowman maybe. Byron maybe. I just don't feel that as much as I do Bell and Hosen Karsavar. I feel like this is just the perfect lineup. I'm not sharing the love. That's my lineup too.
Hell yeah, dude. 4 in a row. Wouldn't that be something, man? Holy cow.
I think he can do it. You're 2025 champ.
I do too, man. I'm on it. I'm here for it, dude. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. I think it'll piss a lot of people off, but I'm here for it. I would not see him win as many as he can in a row. I think it'd be historic, dude. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Great for the sport. Build a superstar. All right. Fantasy lineup for NASCAR. My 5-driver lineup. I'm gonna go Larson, Bowman, Byron, Bell, Reddick. I don't think I have to explain anything. I think Tom just mentioned all 5 of those names and other people that he could have potentially took this weekend. I just think those are your best 5 at Vegas. I don't think it's even close.
Yeah, I'm going with Bell, Reddick. I'm actually gonna throw Bubba in there.
That's a good pick, actually. Dang, yeah.
Blaney. I'm gonna throw Blaney in there.
I've used him too
Bowman.
many times. That's the only reason I didn't put Blaney, but I like that pick too. No, you're right on line with me. Those are great picks. This is gonna be a good week for fantasy. I'm actually winning right now in fantasy. I'm just gonna brag just for a second because that shocked me. I got my ass kicked last year. All right, matchups. These are some good matchups this weekend. We got Tyler Reddick and way to go, Briscoe. I'm going Reddick. Not even a competition.
Yeah, not even competition. There's literally no conversation about this. It's the 45.
All right, next one is Logano and Bell. I'm gonna go Bell over Logano because he wins the race.
Yeah. Yeah, same. It's Bell.
All right, next one is Busch and Chastain. I went back and forth on this one, but there's something different about Chastain, and I just don't think he'll ever get that mojo back. I'm going Busch.
Yeah, I'm going Busch too. I kind of coined a phrase over this past weekend. We're talking about soft stain here, so I'm gonna go with old KFB, baby.
Oh man, I like that. The soft stain Chastain. Oh man, that's a good one. All right, then the last one we have Bowman and Gregson. This is a weird matchup. I'm going Bowman all day. I think Bowman's a top 10 guy at the end of this race, regardless. He probably even top 5.
Yeah, I don't think Gregson is. I don't think. Yeah, no. This is Bowman. This is Bowman.
Yeah, I think they put Gregson on there because it's his home track. I feel like that's the only reason, dude. They just had to show him some love on the fantasy. I don't know why. That was a bad matchup. See, if they'd have put Busch versus Bowman and then Chastain versus Gregson, then we're talking about some
that's a good lineups. Yeah, that's good.
They didn't do that, which is dumb. So they usually do good on matchups. I think that was the one they could have flopped, but whatever. All right, that's Phoenix weekend recapped here on the podcast. We showed some good opinions about tires. What is an option tire? Some of our Bonehead picks. We'll have those polls out for you guys for Drover and Bonehead of the week after this podcast. We also previewed all the races this weekend, man. Tom, it feels like racing's back, man. It has felt like that for the last few weeks, but man, to have F1 on the docket, to have IMSA back with a big endurance race this weekend. Cup cars actually going to a good racetrack for the first time this year that I actually enjoy. Um, yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend, man. I'm excited. I'm gonna sit back and
I
watch some
am
racing
too.
all weekend. It's gonna be fun.
Yep.
All right, if you guys want to join our channel or at least stay up to date with everything happening, join or follow us on any of our social medias. All those links are in the description below, as well as on the screen for you guys to follow. Also in the description below, like I mentioned, our Discord channel, all the racing news, rumors, drama, memes, whatever it may be, for all motorsports around the world. It's all in our Discord. It's a best racing community on the internet. Come join it. Come hang out. Post your own stuff. Meet some new friends. It's a great place to hang out. Also, if you guys want to get some cool swag, we got all kinds of merch on our merch store. Always coming up with new and more fun ideas. Right now, we got What is a Caution out on this channel now, or on the store now. If you guys want to purchase it, all those proceeds go back to help us make bigger and better content for you guys here on YouTube. This is a fun podcast, man. I'm trying to think. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, watch party polls did get official. We're going to be doing a double header for the IndyCar Thermal Club and NASCAR at Homestead. Kind of like we did with Coda and St. Pete. We're going to do that again because both of those tied in the polls. So we'll do a double header watch party for you guys on that Sunday, the 23rd of March. So make sure you guys tune in. Thanks for participating in the month of March watch party poll. No watch party this weekend, at least not planned yet. So maybe, I don't know, probably not. But those won the poll for the month of March. So thank you guys again for voting on that. This has been a fun podcast. Lots of fun stuff to talk about. Next week, we'll recap all the races that we talked about this weekend. And Tom came up with an awesome idea, and we're probably going to fit that in on one of these podcasts here in the next couple of weeks. Another What's Happening segment. We'll see how it goes this weekend with the NASCAR races, and maybe we'll throw it in next week, maybe a week after that. We'll figure that out. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We had a great time with this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the race this weekend and enjoyed the races this upcoming weekend. Hope you guys have the great rest of your week, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.
have primary control of critical vehicle functions.